What's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Lead From Here podcast. I'm Jason. Today we're talking about why EQ is important as a leader. EQ meaning like emotional intelligence. I don't mean like, oh, you have to be emotional and you have to be everybody's friend and you have to understand people. Like, that's not necessarily what I'm saying. Emotional intelligence means is you are able to read a room. Like, you're able to understand, like, hey, this person's listening, this person's not listening, this person's engaged, this person's frustrated, this person's upset, this person's basically stopped thinking about this because they have other things going. This person's on their laptop working on, like, understanding what's going on, reading the room, understanding in a one-on-one, like, what I just said upset somebody, so let me think about what I said that could have upset that person. Let me understand, like, what this person's bringing to this conversation that may have nothing to do with me that is making them upset. Maybe it does have something to do with me. Understanding a situation, and if you can't, like, read a situation and have a general understanding, you're not going to be able to know specifically. They're going to be like, that person's exactly upset. They're annoyed by the fact that they're in this meeting. Maybe you do. Maybe you know that person hates meetings and the fact they're in a meeting is annoying. Maybe. But I'm not saying you need to be a mind reader. I'm saying you need to just kind of understand, like, the nuances that come, the subtleties that come with people's facial expressions, body language, the words they choose, the tone they choose to say those words in, the timing of their cadence of speech. All those things matter. If somebody's speaking fast and loud, they're probably nervous or upset. If somebody's speaking softly, they're probably nervous or not sure of themselves. If somebody's speaking just like they speak to you in one-on-ones, but it sounds like maybe they're stressed, maybe that's just how they talk. Like, understanding those differences, understanding those nuances allows you to be an effective leader. And I'm going to say it, I don't think you can be an effective leader without understanding some level of EQ, like understanding some level of emotional intelligence. You're going to have a really hard time. It's certainly not impossible. It happens. But if you can't read a room, if you can't read a person at some level of, like, that person just got upset or that person just shut down, like, they're not going to talk to me anymore about this. Like, it makes it really hard for you as a leader to be effective, because if you're constantly saying things to shut them down and you're not reflecting on, like, oh man, they shut down after I said that. I wonder what I said about that made them shut down. If you're just constantly like, well, they shut down, we'll talk in the next one-on-one, you're missing out on a good opportunity to, one, level yourself up, and two, get to understand your people at a deeper level, your peers at a deeper level, your bosses at a deeper level. Like, it's all intertwined in a picture of emotional intelligence of every interaction you have. It's not easy, but we'll talk about it much more. We'll talk about emotional intelligence much more. We'll definitely talk about some books to read and some things to do, but ultimately it's very important to understand it. And the reasons why are what I just laid out. It's important to understand so you can read a situation, read a room, pivot if a conversation's going south. Revisit if you feel like something was important to say and that person just didn't get it, or they're frustrated by it. Like, digging in and saying, like, hey, I can tell, like, that something about that didn't make you, your reaction seemed negative or frustrated or annoyed. Like, what about that? Like, what was that reaction? What about what I said made you feel a certain way? Like, let's talk about it. Like, I understand. Like, I'm not saying I have all the answers, and I'm not saying that the way I say things all the time is the right thing. So let's talk about what went wrong. Like, I want to know. I want to help you. I want to support you. And if I upset you, that's not my goal. And doing all those things are very important to leadership and building trust, because if you upset somebody and you let them go without digging into why you upset them, which they may not be ready to talk about that. But quick side note, if you frustrate somebody in a meeting and they're shutting down and not talking, that doesn't mean you need to address that right then. Shouldn't avoid it forever, but you maybe don't need to address that right then. Maybe it's the next one-on-one. Maybe it's you pull them into the office or pull them onto a Zoom the next day or the next week and just say, like, hey, what happened? Let's talk about it. Like, I understand that I upset you and I'm sorry for that. It was certainly not my goal. Let's talk about what happened and let me help me understand how I can support you better, and then go from there. That's really what it's about, is building trust and helping you understand how your words are landing and impacting it and how you can get better at that. So hope this was helpful. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. We will dive deeper into emotional intelligence, no doubt. Yeah, take care of yourselves, take care of the people in your charge, and yeah, I appreciate you all. Take care.